We are getting wild and crazy with animals today. Let's go back to Alyssa Leslie from the Dallas Zoo's Animal Adventures Outreach Team. So what's the next animal we're going to learn about?
Yes, so we now have with us Lola, and Lola is a two-toed sloth. So as we get a little closer view here, there are two and three-toed sloths. Now what we're going to try and show you here is two-toed sloths have two toes on their front feet, but they have three toes on their back feet. So all sloths have three toes on those back feet there. So to tell apart a two and a three-toed sloth, you have to count the number of toes on their front feet. And we're seeing Lola doing here what she does best. Sloths like to spend their entire lives hanging upside down. So they do everything like this. They eat upside down, they drink upside down, they even give birth upside down. And when we travel off-site with Lola, she actually has her crate designed so that she can travel upside down as well. Now, the other thing we know about sloths is that they are very, very slow. Now, a lot of times we think about sloths being lazy, but that's actually not true. Sloths are herbivores, and they spend their entire lives hanging up in those trees. And they eat all the leaves and fruits they're going to find up in the trees. So their food doesn't have a whole lot of energy. So as a sloth, she has to spend a lot of her time conserving that energy. So sloths sleep about 10 to 12, even sometimes up to 15 hours a day, conserving that energy. Now, you'll see her right now. She does have those teeth to be able to break open her food, but she spends all of her time hanging out just like this. Now, Lola herself is actually a very clean sloth. You'll notice she's kind of a tannish brown color. However, in their natural environment, they are a green color. So they actually move so slowly, and they live where it's very humid and rainy that they'll actually grow green algae in their fur. Now, you'll notice her arms are very brown, and when her fur is green, that's going to perfectly allow her to camouflage up in the trees. Now, a lot of times people ask us why sloths are slow, and I have a question for you. Why are other animals fast? Let's think about a cheetah. A cheetah has to be fast to catch its food. Well, as I mentioned, Lola is an herbivore, so she eats things up in the trees and she doesn't have to be fast to catch them. The other reason an animal needs to be fast is like a gazelle. The gazelle is running fast to get away from the cheetah. So this means Lola really does not have a whole lot of predators or animals that might try to eat her that she has to worry about. In fact, there's really only two main predators of a sloth. One is a large bird called a Harpy Eagle. They are huge birds, and they can actually snatch these sloths out of the trees. However, since they camouflage so well and they move so little, a lot of times it's difficult for those Harpy Eagles to even see them. Now, her other predator is on the ground, and that's a large cat called a Jaguar. Now, as I mentioned, sloths spend pretty much their entire lives up in the tree, except about once a week, they climb down to the base of their tree and they go to the bathroom. That's right, just once a week. So when that happens, that's when a Jaguar might be waiting for her. But otherwise, she really doesn't have a whole lot of predators to worry about. Now, sloths are not an endangered species. However, there are things that we can do to help. And as you guys are buying your back to school supplies, think about buying things that you can use from recycled materials. Or as you're going back to school and you're writing on paper for your exams, go ahead and recycle that. And that will be a big help to sloths that rely on those trees.
I love all of this great information, Alyssa. I've learned so much. Jacob, my nephew, he's 5. He has one question. I love that they're both watching. He's wondering, how long do they live?
Great question. Lola here is 12 years old, and they can typically live about 20 to 25 years, much longer with us under human care.
Thank you so much. And thank you all to the Dallas Zoo folks at the Animal Adventures. We really appreciate your time today.